a little bit earlier, is the gentleman himself, John Campbell. I figured we did enough talking, so let's not even break down the introduction. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, and I just want to start off by saying everybody knows what... Oh, thank you. I just want to start off by saying everybody knows that football is a fake sport.
Right.
Football players are fake athletes, and
True.
Football fans are just as easily as gullible as the most easily duped person out there. So let's get talking about a real sport. Let's get talking about a real sport. Let's talk about professional wrestling.
Yes, professional wrestling, the realest sport of them all. And
absolutely.
And being that I'm a professional wrestler, that you are a professional wrestler.
Yes, I am. Somebody said is real or realist even a word, and I believe it is. I believe it's in Webster's right next to right in between restless and reality.
Absolutely. See, the man knows everything.
It wasn't a real word before the show started. It wasn't a real word before the show started.
I'm not arguing with him. I was just asking if how it's a word.
It's a real word. Anyway, it's the realest word in the dictionary.
Yes, and you know what? That could be the example, the sentence.
You know, you know what? One of these days you're going to have to come out, and me and you should tag up just so that we can make a lot jealous.
Absolutely. Now, if you can make that happen, I'd love to.
For those people that don't know who the gentleman is, please explain who is Gentleman John Campbell.
Well, I can sum the Gentleman John Campbell up in just a few short words. I'm devilishly handsome, wildly entertaining, and damn it, just good show business. I'm the Gentleman John Campbell, and if you can't dig it, you can stick it. Oh, Canada, eh?
and first of all, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. I actually think I shed a tear. I did. I did. It was that great. Please save that soundbite. Please save that soundbite. Where exactly do you wrestle out of for people that haven't had a chance to, you know, that for the rest of the world that has been clueless to greatness, tell them where exactly you wrestle out of.
I wrestle in the Midwest, Michigan mostly. I've been trying to get out there, though, as much as possible. I have bookings coming up in North Carolina and all sorts of different places. I'm one of those guys, if anybody wants to book me anywhere, if I can make it, if it's worth my while, I will go. I'm not, you know, I'm not one of those guys who just wants to stay in one place. I want to be one of those guys that gets out there, gets my name out there, gets to as many parts of the country as possible. If there's a show in Alabama in front of, you know, 2 people, guess what? You know, if anybody wants me on that show, I'll go. Hopefully there's more than 2 people there, but, you know, I will travel. So, but right now, the Midwest mostly.
If it is in Alabama and there's 2 people there, I can guarantee you that there's more fans than teeth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing that's one of those obvious answer thingies, but it's just one of them things that I had to throw out there. Definitely not the most oral hygienic city in the country, or state in the country, whatever the hell it is. I don't consider that place a state, you know, let's be honest.
Well, hey, if anybody in Alabama is listening to this and they want to dispute that, feel free to call into Smart Mark Radio. I believe their phone number is listed on their website, and feel free to debate that with our host here, because I have honestly never been to Alabama, let alone counted the teeth in people's mouths in Alabama. But at this point, it sounds to me like you're the expert, so I will take your word for it. But if anybody wants to call in and dispute, the number is on the website.
But look, the proof is in the song. It says Sweet Home Alabama, obviously because they eat too much candy down there, because something has to be rotten out all their teeth. I mean, I'm not trying to throw stones at glass windows for no reason. I'm just saying, you know, if the shoe fits, wear it. In Alabama, you wear it so well. You know, I mean, and all them Southern. I mean, West Virginia's even worse. I mean, if we really wanted to get on a let's go dog in every city in the freaking, the United States, it'd be easy. You're from Canada, so just be happy that you're from a clean continent, or not even continent, man. I'm sick, so my speaking's going to be a little
It should be one.
You're in a clean country, where wrestling is a tradition and it's considered greatness, and
it's pure. It's pure. We're not running over people with cars up in Canada. We're not, shooting each other with AK-47s in Canada. I saw an AK-47 on a pole match the other day down in Detroit, Michigan. It wasn't a wrestling match, mind you. It was just two guys on the street fighting for an AK-47. But I did see an AK-47 on a pole match. We don't do that in Canada.
Yeah, and it just so happened to be attached to a pair of shoes that were hanging off of a telephone wire. I know exactly what you're talking about. I believe I actually saw videos of that.
Yes, those are my dead homies' shoes.
Yeah, I mean it's heartbreaking, really, but I mean that's how it is and stuff. We're at you said Detroit, Michigan stuff. We're at Michigan. Like what companies have you wrestled for out there?
I've wrestled for just about everybody out here in Michigan. Way too many to list off the top of my head, though. The ones that I'm wrestling for regularly right now, Universal Wrestling Enterprises, which just had a huge show last night at Kuwaitan Casinos in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. I wrestled Al Snow last night. I wrestle for the Michigan Wrestling Organization out of Flint, Total Extreme Wrestling Entertainment out of Adrian, Michigan. Takedown Wrestling Alliance, they're in the Detroit area. If I'm forgetting anybody, I apologize, but there's a lot of companies out here, and there's a lot of good companies out here. International Big Time Wrestling out of Detroit. Like I said, if I'm forgetting anybody, I apologize, but there's a lot of good companies, there's a lot of good guys. And it's kind of a shame because I don't think a lot of people are looking at Michigan right now. And I think there's a lot of guys here where if they had the right eyes, able to see them, they could actually go really far and do something. Just unfortunately, I don't think anybody's watching Michigan right now. So.
Well, that's a damn shame, actually. But you look at, I'm sorry, but I mean, that's really a damn shame nobody's looking at Michigan. Not only is there a lot of great talent there, that's an area that's rich in wrestling tradition, wrestling history. You're looking at back in the day, Bobo Brazil and The Sheik and Mark Lewin, and I can go on and on just rattling off names. It's really kind of a shame Detroit kind of fallen by the wayside as far as national attention goes.
But then you think of also friends of our show right now. You've got Rampage, you've got the Great Akuma, you've got, I mean, the tag teams from up there that wrestled for Underground as well. I mean, gosh dang, I forgot the names of them, man. I'm pretty fucking shitty with that, but you know how we do. Just a lot of, we actually do put a lot of Michigan guys on this show, and for good reason. Michigan does have a lot of great wrestling up there. And,
yes,
I mean, I don't
really
know if you've ever heard of the guys I've mentioned, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes, I have. All really good guys. Great Akuma especially.
Yes, he is, and we keep on. I and Tony T, we are trying to teach this man that turning heel is the way to go, because he's got too much. I mean, he's first of all, he's arrogant. Listen to him talk. The man's arrogant. I mean, if he would turn heel, it would be such a great business move. I told him, I was like, we could do beautiful things if you would turn heel.
Oh, we could do some mass destruction in underground wrestling if I could get him to turn.
And it's like imagine a heel Great Akuma.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Exactly. With yours truly, your role model, Rick Lieb, and then maybe bring in a gentleman, John Campbell, however,
hey,
I want to pronounce it the way you pronounce it. I don't want to pronounce it. I don't want to Americanize your name incorrectly, but I do apologize because it does happen.
Oh no, that's fine. I'm used to it. I do get that a lot though. It's actually Campbell.
Right.
But people do, and a lot of people get on my case. Like fans will bring signs with the Campbell soup logo on it and everything like that, and get on my case about it. But it's Campbell.
Rather drink a bowl of piss.
I wouldn't go that far. I'd say if you'd rather drink a bowl of piss than eat some soup, your priorities are a little out of whack.
Well, but see, what you neglect to realize is, if I'm pissing on a fan, it's called role model aid, and they'll drink it anyway. So you might as well just consider it.
You're right.
Very good, very good. I like that.
Okay.
You're right.
So, I wasn't talking about other people's. Anyway, we do have to take our first commercial break, but when we get back, we got to talk to you about Al Snow. So we'll take 2 minutes, 2 seconds, and be right back with more SMR.
Welcome back here to Smart Mark Radio, and we are here with, I'm going to try to pronounce it the correct way, Gentleman John Campbell.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Rick mentioned right before the break we were going to talk about Al Snow. I understand you actually wrestled Al Snow last night. Is that correct?
Yes, I did. It was tremendous. As an independent professional wrestler, especially nowadays, in 2012, the economy's bad. Not a lot of people are going out to wrestling shows anymore. Some people draw, but some people don't. And I was very fortunate to be on a show last night up at Kuwaitan Casino in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. And packed house. I'm really bad at estimating the draw, but I'd say there's about 800 or 900 people there, stacked up and down with names. It literally read as almost a who's who of wrestling. You had Demolition, Powers of Pain, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Rikishi, Scotty 2 Hotty. The list goes on and on. Billy Gunn, just so many huge names. And as just an up-and-coming independent guy, to even be on that show was one thing, but I got to wrestle Al Snow, who many know is, he's one of the guys who run Gut Check on Impact Wrestling. So, to get that opportunity to be in the ring with him and to learn from him and, get all the advice and all of that stuff, it was just a tremendous experience until he hit me in the head with a plastic head.
Well, you figure a good performance against Al Snow could lead to big things in the future, too. If he had a good match with you, he's going to remember you.
Yeah, and I hope it was good. I hope it was as good for him as it was for me. I know that's a line I've said to many women, but in this case, I hope it applies for Al Snow as well. So.
What would you do? Like after your match with Al Snow, did by any chance he say, "Hey man, did he compliment you at all? Did he give you any pointers at all?" These are all good cues. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. We sat down and we talked. It was basically, just, hey, I liked what you did here. I liked what you did here. I liked what you did here. You might want to work on this a little bit. Slow this down a little bit. But it was just, a fountain of knowledge. Al Snow's been around the business for, many, many years, and he's, been to every major promotion, and he knows what he's doing, knows what he's talking about, and that's actually his job. He helps the younger guys out in TNA, so to get kind of the same advice that he's given those guys on the bigger level and on the bigger stage, it's just, it's valuable, and it's definitely an experience that I'll take with me for, the rest of my career and probably the rest of my life, so it was a good time and it was a good experience, and I'm very blessed and fortunate.
Well, hopefully, Al Snow gives you a call. That would be pretty cool. We actually do have a lot of friends that work inside of TNA Wrestling, so that would be amazing, and we'll take credit for it.
Absolutely. Hey, I don't care who takes credit for it, man. If I can get there, I'll be a happy man. Either one of them. That's I think every independent wrestler's dream is to make it to the big stage, and whether whether it's Impact Wrestling or, you know, WWE, you know, they're both, you know, I can turn on my TV and see either one. So, you know, either one, I would consider that making it.
Absolutely. Now, other than Al Snow, have you ever had a chance to wrestle any other people that you might have seen on TV that you probably looked up to as a child or even now in your career?
Oh, absolutely. Back in 2010, I got to wrestle the Road Dogg Jesse James, and that was actually a great experience also because it was a 8-man tag, and besides Road Dogg, everybody in that match was a really good friend of mine. You know, 2 of the guys I had practically grown up with. One was my trainer, and other guys were just guys that I knew, you know, from being on the road and, you know, up and down and everything. And, you know, that was a great time just, you know, being there and experiencing that, you know. Hey, I'm in the ring with somebody that I, you know, used to watch on TV, and I'm doing that with all my buddies. So, you know, that was really cool. And last year I got to wrestle Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and that was a great experience as well. And that was a 6-man tag team match, and Duggan was in it, and got a lot of great advice from him too. So, you know, I've been blessed. I've been fortunate. I can at least name off a few guys. Like, yeah, I used to watch him on TV, and you know, here I am. You know.
Yeah, I've actually got a chance when I was doing a TV show. I actually had we had a thing where Road Dogg had come in, and I had been bad-mouthing him for the past few weeks or something, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, he shows up in the studio and you know, pretty much knocks me out. I'm sure he used something, you know, because there's no way I fall down unless the dude had brass knuckles or something in his hand. But, you know, all kayfabe aside, the man definitely throws one of the best punches in wrestling. I loved the punch. So it was just a quick thing. I was hoping it would go into a match. I never got the match, though, but that's cool, man. Go on. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, I definitely agree. I was actually the one who, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on which way you want to look at it, was the one who got to take the, you know, the big punch and then the, you know, the crazy legs knee drop, you know, off the ropes. So, you know, that was a lot of fun. Road Dogg is definitely one guy that I can say is honestly if not the funniest, one of the funniest people that I've ever come across. The night before, I actually had the pleasure of being in a van with him for like 5 hours. We were driving from Indiana up to Michigan for like a double shot show, and we were the ones taking him to his hotel, and he's just a riot. And the stories he had were, you know, just hilarious. He kept us awake for, you know, the whole trip.
You did have the windows down, right?
Yes, we did. And if I'll leave everybody out there guessing. They can put 2 and 2 together on what you mean by that.
I don't think I'll think you're ready to figure that one out.
I'll leave it at that. But anybody that's ever met the Road Dogg knows exactly what the hell I'm talking about.
Hey, maybe he has bad gas for all anybody knows.
Exactly.
You know?
That's what I'm talking about, people. Stop jumping to conclusions.
Yes,
the dude eats a lot of Taco Bell on the road, and he farts a lot, man. What were you saying?
Yeah. It's a real problem, people. It's a real problem.
You know, it's enough to make you feel woozy once you get out of the car. That's all I'm trying to say. You know, you're in, you know, he's in, you start to feel a little bit dizzy when you get out of the car, you know. So, just saying. Just saying. Yes. Not trying to accuse anybody of anything.
No, absolutely not. And I'm glad, and I'm very happy for him that he's back doing what he's doing for WWE. I know when the last time I saw him, which was about a year ago, he was like just ready to be, you know, doing that again. Or maybe it was over a year ago. But he was getting ready to go, and, you know, he was in really good spirits, so I'm very happy that he's there again.
And he's still in really great shape, too. So I hope that maybe eventually they realize, man, our tag team division sucks. What can we do to fix it? oh, I know, maybe we just get the guy that's sitting in the basement watching old clips of WWE and have him come back up there, step in the ring. So
yeah, and Billy can still go. He was there last night. And if anybody's, they see Billy on TV, but they've never met him in person. He's as big as a house. He's in phenomenal shape, and he's still out there doing the thing. If they wanted to boost that tag team division, there's no reason why they couldn't do a New Age Outlaws reunion like tomorrow.
Excuse me. Yeah, and I think that would make. I believe that if they were to get the New Age Outlaws back there, I think that they should just. I mean, honestly, if I was Vince, I would say, look, Billy Gunn has openly apologized to Triple H, and they have finally made their peace. If I was Vince, I would do this. I would say, look, next pay-per-view, there's going to be a tag team match. Put the tag team champions, whoever the hell they are, because that's how much I give a damn, up in there, and more or less say they'll be against a mystery tag team. Do like a independent show would do when they're not sure if the tag team's going to show up or not. Let's be honest. That's usually what mystery tag team or mystery opponent means anyway.
If I ever see that on a flyer, I'll be sure to remember that. I've never encountered that.
I love that.
I've encountered where the names have, in air quotes, no-showed. Now, whether or not, they were contacted in the first place, that's not my say. But
right.
I've encountered that, but I've never encountered the mystery opponent, so.
What, people being advertised on a flyer for a show they were never contacted for? That doesn't happen in this business.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Well, I told Daniel Bryan.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I told Daniel Bryan in a shoot promo I put on YouTube. I had mentioned that if he keeps calling himself role model on TV, because remember he was doing that for a while. I had said on there, I was like, look, if you're going to do that, because I have that nickname trademarked for good reason, because it's a great freaking moniker. And I'm like, if you're going to keep on stealing my name, I hope you sell a lot of merchandise for me. And then the second thing that I would do is I'm going to start taking bookings under the name Bryan Danielson. It's only fair.
If you have it trademarked, that's a legitimate claim.
Mm-hmm. But he stopped doing it right after that. So.
Yeah. My trainer, a man by the name of Eric Freedom, he's another guy. He's been in the business for 20+ years. He used to do jobs and WWF and WCW like back in the early '90s and everything. He's been all over. In 1999, he was doing a show at some fairgrounds. And keep in mind, this is 1999, and there's 3,000 plus at this fairgrounds. Eric's like, damn. Looks at the flyer. Kane's on the flyer. And, Kane's on the flyer. And the promoter, Kane didn't make his flight, or, something like that. And, it's just, man, how low do you have to get? You know what I mean? Like, come on.
I want to know, was this Alabama?
I have no idea. I have no idea. But
Wes, where else will you be stupid enough to believe Kane's going to be like, oh, yeah, I don't mind breaching my contract with WWE. I'll be there in a minute,
I don't know. The way he explained it to me though was it was just it wasn't advertised as an independent show. Like, I think he just said the flyer said pro wrestling on it and it had Kane on it. So for all these people they could have thought it was a WWE show. But I heard after match 2 it went from 3,000 to 100. So that ought to tell you the quality of the show itself.
Wow.
It's for the opening match.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That's brilliant.
Oh, hey, I guess if he couldn't draw on his own merits, and that also proves that Kane's a draw. So anybody who ever says Kane was never a draw, he drew 3,000 on a show that he wasn't even at.
Absolutely. No, he drew 2,900.
Oh, well. Yeah. I guess technically you're right. So it's more than I've ever drawn.
No, let's not get carried away. You're the gentleman. We know that you've drawn a lot more than that. Quit being bashful. I knew you would do this. Let me just break kayfabe for a second to tell them all. No, you've drawn more than 3,000 women in the crowd before. Just saying.
Have I? I bet my hand would get. I bet my hand would get tired after drawing all of those people. See what I did there. See what I did there. That was my
the
bad
amazing
joke
part
of the
was
night.
you drew them with pen, and they still came out.
Yes, I did.
You know.
I'm not a Bob Ross oil painter, but get me a Sharpie or a pen, and I can do pretty okay, at least on the kindergarten level.
There you go. That's all that matters. As long as people could tell if it's boy or girl, you put the earrings in the ears. We knew.
Yeah, I make the long hair, and
right.
I draw a generous bust.
There you go. No, that right there should sell a couple pictures at least.
Yes.
I mean, you never know, man. The way people are with anime anymore, a little freakish.
Yeah,
but hey,
if there's a market for it, I'll find a way to corner it.
Anybody in the independent level, not big stars, but people that you've looked up to in the independent level, that when you got in the ring with them, you're like, man, this to me is almost as good as wrestling against the superstar. I mean, kind of like, is there anybody on the indie level that would give you that feeling like if you were in the ring with me?
Yeah, absolutely. Eric Freedom, my trainer, just because he's my trainer, and so, I got to know him on, that personal level, and it went from, a business relationship to, a friendship. So being in the ring with him, is always a lot of fun, and I always go back to this match. It was last summer up in the Traverse City, Michigan area, this radio station. They always throw this huge festival. It's like an outdoor camp out, and there's thousands of people there. It's almost like a mini Woodstock. And wrestling was the feature. And so, there's a significant amount of people in the crowd. Me and him were the main event. And, I just remember in the middle of that match, because we're out there rocking it, and it's, a good 100 degrees out. It's outside in the middle of summer. And just, we're out there rocking it, and I'm like, I'm thinking, damn, this is awesome, just seeing all these people react, because, they're not wrestling fans, they weren't coming there for wrestling. Wrestling just happened to be the, one of the attractions, but everybody just kind of started making their way over, and, finally, I just, wow, this ring's, surrounded by people. There had to have been at least 1,500 people. And it was amazing. It was really cool. I loved it. And Eric Freedom,
awesome.
Yeah, for sure. But as far as guys on that level, I would say Eric Freedom, Jimmy Blaze out of the Chicago area. He runs POW Entertainment. I know there's a few others, but I just, off the top of my head, I can't think. I'd really have to sit down and think about it.
Well, wrestling in front of 1,500 people would be cool anyway, because I think that probably the biggest crowd I've ever wrestled in front of was 1,000 people, and that's when we had a bunch of ECW guys on the card, and that to me was freaking badass. So I can only imagine. Unfortunately, the place only fit that much. We were actually turning people away at the door. So
wow, and that's awesome too. If an independent can draw that many people, because I don't know how it is out where you guys are, but the unfortunate state of independent wrestling, at least around here, is if you get 50, you did a pretty good house.
Yeah, that's pretty much the normal everywhere. I know that I wrestle for Underground Wrestling mainly, and I know that they usually get a couple hundred, but I don't know if any how many tickets are comped or anything like that, or given to sponsors to just pass out. So there's always that on there. But you know what, the crowd, as a wrestler, it's always nice to be in front of a crowd that usually averages about 200, sometimes bigger shows up to 500. Those are fun. Ask Great Akuma. I mean, if you're friends with him, he's wrestled for Underground a couple times. And tell him to get you the booking. I mean, get down there. I'd love to meet you. Have you come on wrestle on a show that, one of our shows. That would be badass,
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to come down.
Ask him. I mean, I'm not saying that the promoters are going to pay you the best money in the world, but you'll at least get your gas money and maybe a little bit of spending cash.
Yeah, and as an indie guy, that's all you could hope for. I never expected when I first broke in, I never expected to make any money. You know what I mean? I was one of those guys hey, I'm just happy for the opportunity. So now, when I get paid, what I get paid. My asking price and everything, hey, I'm a happy camper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so anyway, we do have to take our next commercial break, but yeah, definitely, man. And I'm going to give you the information just in case, but yeah, you ask, I was about to say Ken, you ask the Great Akuma,
Who's Ken?
I don't know who this Ken guy is. Yeah, I think it's a referee or something. He's a dick, that's all I know. But
from Street Fighter.
Exactly, there you go. I don't know where that came from, but yeah, you ask him, man. Our shows are pretty, they're live, man. If anything, and we don't have cliques in the locker room. That's
always a good thing. And I've never been about that either. Yeah, and I've never been about that either. I'm one of those guys. I'll get along with everybody if they just give me the chance.
Absolutely. Well, we got to take our next commercial break, and when we get back from this commercial break, we will be talking to you about where people can see you online, and then you also, but before we even get into that, you have a show coming up this Friday. We want to get into that a little bit. So we'll be back in 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Right, Tony?
Yeah, whatever.
He hates when I say that.
Okay, we are back on here with Hallmark Radio, and we are here with the gentleman John Campbell. Having a great time talking about the business with him here. Now, I do have to ask you this question though. We've talked kind of briefly about how you'd like to make it to one of the big two, either WWE or TNA, whichever one it would be.
Yes.
Is there somebody there right now that you would like to work with in particular?
You know what? Any of them, because if they're on that level, man, that means that they've got something, they have the it factor. They have something that I can, take and, they have the tools that, got them to that dance that I can learn from. So, but if I had to pick any one person, I would have to aim high and say The Undertaker. Because, Undertaker's always the featured attraction, and because, I watched him, ever since I was a kid, so The Undertaker would be really cool.
Plus, you can end that streak.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's not a day that goes by I'll wake up in the, middle of the night to take a piss, or, I'll walk out and get the morning paper, and I'll think to myself, something? You could end the Undertaker's streak. I know.
Yeah, why would it? Obviously.
I'm brushing my teeth, and, I spit out that last little bit, and I look in the mirror, I'm like, John, 1, you look good, and 2, you could end the Undertaker's streak.
Yeah, well, it's like, and since I can relate to you on this one, because I know I can end the Undertaker streak, and I look great too, it's in that order too.
Yes.
People ask me, they're like, why do you have mirrors everywhere in your house? And I'm like, well, when you look at them, they're an ugly pitcher. But when I look at them, it's a huge difference. Huge difference.
Yes.
I mean, I've never met a mirror I didn't like. You can use that, man.
Good luck too. If I ever use that in a casual conversation, I'll feel free to credit you with that.
Well, hopefully we can get you in Underground now, but Underground ain't doing a show this Friday. Who is? And tell us what's going on with it.
It's Pro Wrestling Revolution up in Marquette, Michigan. They're going to be at the Masonic Temple. A lot of amazing talent. Silas Young from Ring of Honor, I believe he's going to be on the show. Jun Hado, he's an up-and-coming kid. I've seen him around. He's definitely going to be a guy that you guys will hear about. Whether
Kane?
It's, what's that?
Kane?
No, Kane will not be on the show. but Silas Young, Jun Hado, TW3, Scotty D, Gary the Freak, the Bruiser, Jamie Reyes, Kaz Carter, just a bunch of guys from, the Michigan and Wisconsin area, Brian Skyline, just a bunch of guys who are passionate about the business, going to go out and going to rock it. And, hopefully the fans that come, they're going to keep coming back and be entertained. And I know the last show was a really good show, so hopefully, the word of mouth will keep bringing them in.
Well, I know we have a pretty good fan base in the state of Michigan, but unfortunately for people that are listening to the show, you're probably on archives because, as I'm being told by somebody, our live airing is not working out, at least on one person's account. So hopefully...
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what? We're archived, so you'll be heard. Most 90, I won't say 99, but 95% of our listeners like to listen to it during the week on their own beck and call. You know what I mean? They don't like.
Okay.
They don't like to be told when they have to listen to the show. And you can go to
the website and listen to the archive stuff. Correct?
Right. Yeah. Right. You can listen to it on the archives. It'll be playing all week. But apparently, according to Johnny Video, he's not getting it there. So hopefully.
Bummer.
Yeah, hopefully that.
You have me on the show and I break it, man. I apologize.
Hey, it's funny when even the switchboard gets a little carried away when you're on the show. I mean, what can we say?
Yeah, so many people are trying to call in, and so many people are listening. I broke the server, and I apologize.
It's still working.
Okay, well, let's clarify right now. If you're listening through smartmarkradio.com, it's not working. But when you do simulcast on Blog Talk Radio, I understand it is working there for those people. So, you're being listened to live, it's probably not as widespread if it would be.
We have been corrected.
Yes.
By a referee who always likes to correct wrestlers.
Yes. Well, to those who are listening, thank you for listening. For those of you who had to archive it later, I'm sorry that you had to hear my beautiful voice at such a later date, but you are here, and thank you for listening.
Okay, now, do you have any idea who you'll be working on this Friday? You'll be wrestling this Friday?
Yes, I believe it's Gary the Freak. And Gary the Freak is he's an up-and-coming young man who I have kind of taken personal issues with. You see, the last time I was at Pro Wrestling Revolution, believe it or not, he was in the match, and believe it or not, I think he got the better of me. And
I don't believe that.
No. Listen, I'm a big enough man to admit that even though he's a cheater, even though he cheats on his taxes, he cheats on his wife, he cheats in the wrestling ring. Wow. Even though he's a cheater, I believe I will prevail. I believe I will be victorious. I believe that my hand will be raised at the end of the night at Gary the Freak's expense. And Gary the Freak, when you're staring up at the lights advertising the fact that you've just been beat by simply the best. I'm sorry to tell you, Gary, I'm the better man.
Well, you will keep us posted about all that, correct? We want to know the outcome to this match. We'll even have Jayhawk announce that you've annihilated Gary the Freak on.
And that's what it will be. He will be annihilated.
Oh, duh. I mean, it doesn't take a smart guy to know that, but apparently these other guys didn't figure it out.
Well, you know, some people are a little bit slow on the draw.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Anyway, with that being said, we do need to wrap things up. So tell everybody where they can find the gentleman, John Campbell, and tell people where they can maybe friend you on, like Facebook or Twitter or websites or anything like that. And if you have any other upcoming shows that might be on the horizon, let us all know about them. You got a couple minutes. The stage is yours. Just shoot me and get up.
Well, you fine folks listening to Smart Mark Radio can find me at John Campbell on Twitter, Facebook.com/John Campbell X. I also do a podcast every week where I interview different independent wrestlers that I travel with or I'm on shows with. You can catch that at gentlemanjohncampbell.podomatic.com. You can catch me this Friday night in Marquette, Michigan at the Masonic Temple for Pro Wrestling Revolution. For all my upcoming dates, you can check out my Facebook and or Twitter account. I'd also like to send a special shout-out to Mike Bessler, Brady Hicks, and Alvin at Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I'd also like to send a special shout-out to Stuntman Mike. And I want to thank everybody for listening in, and thank you very much, Smart Mark Radio.
Okay, thank you for being on the show. We're going to go ahead and take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll have the news.